I never thought I'd be the type of husband who snoops, but something in my gut wouldn't let me sleep that night. My wife, Emily, had been acting strangely for weeks, late-night texts, sudden work meetings, and a purse she never let out of her sight. One evening, after she went to shower, I noticed she'd left her bag on the kitchen chair. My heart pounded as I slowly unzipped it, half hoping I'd find nothing, half terrified I'd find something. And then I froze. Inside, tucked neatly between her makeup kit and wallet, was a small box of protection. Not ours. Not the kind we ever used. My chest felt like it was caving in. I sat there, staring at it, anger boiling up, betrayal pressing down on my shoulders. But instead of confronting her right away, a darker thought crossed my mind, one that would test her loyalty and give me undeniable proof. So I carefully reached into the drawer, pulled out a tube of strong industrial superglue, and with trembling hands, I swapped it in. My plan was dangerous. Risky. But if she was truly cheating, she was about to expose herself in a way she never imagined. The next morning, Emily was cheerful, almost too cheerful. She kissed me on the cheek, humming as she got ready for work. To her, everything seemed normal. But I couldn't shake the pounding in my chest. All day, I wrestled with what I'd done. What if I was wrong? What if I had just crossed a line that could never be undone? Still, the memory of that box in her purse kept replaying in my head, and my anger drowned out every second thought. That evening, she told me she was heading out again, late meeting with a client, she said, avoiding eye contact. My jaw clenched, but I played along. Of course, I replied smoothly. Don't stay out too late. The door closed behind her, and I sat in silence. Hours ticked by until finally, my phone buzzed. It wasn't Emily, it was one of her coworkers, a friend of mine. The text was short, but it shattered everything. Hey, man. I don't know how to say this, but Emily wasn't at work tonight. My chest burned. The trap I had set was now in motion. And all I could do was wait for the fallout. It was nearly midnight when Emily finally walked through the front door. Her hair was slightly messy, her blouse wrinkled, and she carried herself with the kind of nervous energy she tried to disguise as exhaustion. Long night? I asked casually, pretending not to notice. She froze for just a fraction of a second before forcing a tired smile. Yeah, client meetings never end. I'm just exhausted. I nodded, biting down my rage. I understand. She quickly disappeared into the bathroom. That's when I heard it, an angry shout muffled by the closed door, followed by a string of panicked curses. My stomach twisted. The trap had sprung. Moments later, she stormed out, clutching her phone, her face pale. She didn't even look at me as she dialed frantically. Something's wrong, she hissed into the phone. We need to talk, now. I leaned back in my chair, my heart pounding, but I kept my face calm. She didn't know I had already pieced everything together. Now it was only a matter of who she was calling, and how I would finally confront her. I sat silently at the dining table, pretending to scroll through my phone, though every muscle in my body was locked on her every move. Emily paced the living room, clutching her phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her voice dropped to a whisper, but I still caught pieces of the conversation. It's not funny, it's serious. I don't know what happened, but something's wrong. There was a pause, then she said the word that made my chest ache. Tonight. I clenched my fists under the table. She was talking to him. Whoever he was. Emily ended the call, shoving her phone back in her purse. She looked flustered, almost scared. When her eyes met mine, I gave her the calmest smile I could manage. Everything okay? I asked smoothly. She hesitated, then forced a laugh. Oh, yeah. Just a little, work issue. Nothing important. I nodded, hiding the storm raging inside me. She was lying straight to my face, and she thought I was too blind to see it. But what she didn't know was that her own betrayal had just set a trap she couldn't escape. That night, after Emily went to bed, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with every detail, the box I had swapped, the phone call, the lies. I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. Quietly, I slipped into the living room and pulled her purse toward me. Her phone was still inside. My hands shook as I unlocked it. She had never changed her password, too confident that I'd never check. And there it was. Message after message with a man saved only as M. Asterisk, last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. Asterisk. Asterisk, tonight again. Same place. Asterisk. Asterisk, don't worry, he'll never find out. Asterisk. My stomach turned, but instead of breaking down, a cold determination set in. I screenshotted everything, sending copies to my own email for safekeeping. If she wanted to play games, I was about to show her how they ended. The next morning, Emily acted as though nothing had happened, smiling, humming, pretending to be the perfect wife. But every word she spoke now felt like poison. She didn't know that I already had the evidence. She didn't know that her lies were crumbling. And soon, she would realize her secret had backfired in the most humiliating way possible. The more I thought about it, the more I realized one thing: Emily thrived on appearances. To her friends, her family, and her co-workers, she was the devoted wife with a perfect marriage. That was her shield. Her image. So if the truth was going to hit her, it had to hit where it hurt the most. I began planning carefully. I backed up the screenshots onto a flash drive. I printed a few messages on paper. I even saved the timestamp of her client meeting that matched the text she sent to M. There would be no excuses, no escape. But I wasn't going to confront her at home. No, this needed to happen in front of people who believed her lies. People she desperately didn't want to lose face in front of. That weekend, we were invited to dinner at her sister's house. Emily was thrilled, already picking out a dress 2 days early, talking about how nice it'll be to show everyone how strong we are together. I just nodded, hiding a small smile. She had no idea that the dinner she thought would be her moment of pride, would become the stage for her downfall. Saturday evening arrived, and Emily was glowing with excitement. She spent hours getting ready, twirling in front of the mirror, asking me if her dress looked good. I gave her the same calm smile I'd been perfecting all week. "You look perfect," I said softly. And she did. But I knew the truth hidden beneath that perfect image. At her sister's house, the dinner started warm and cheerful. Laughter echoed around the table, glasses clinked, and everyone commented on how happy we looked together. Emily played her role flawlessly, holding my hand, leaning into me, telling little stories that made us sound inseparable. But as the evening carried on, I could feel the weight of the flash drive in my pocket. My pulse quickened. Every fake smile she gave only pushed me closer to the moment I'd been waiting for. Finally, her sister raised a toast. To Emily and Mark, the couple everyone admires. True love right here. Everyone clapped. Emily beamed. She loved the attention. That's when I cleared my throat and set my glass down. The room quieted. All eyes turned to me. "I think it's time," I said slowly, "for everyone to see what kind of love we're really talking about." Emily's smile faltered. Her hand froze around her wine glass. She knew something was wrong. Emily's face drained of color the moment I pulled the small flash drive from my pocket and set it gently on the table. What is that?" she stammered, her voice cracking under the weight of sudden fear. Her sister tilted her head, confused. "Mark? What's going on?" I looked around the table, meeting every pair of eyes before finally locking mine on Emily. This little drive holds the truth. Messages. Lies. Proof of what Emily's been doing when she claims she's working late. Gasps rippled through the room. Emily nearly knocked over her glass as she scrambled to stop me. Mark, please, don't do this here. We can talk. But I cut her off. My voice was steady, sharper than ever. No, Emily. You wanted everyone to admire us, to toast us. So let them see what kind of marriage you've really built. I slid a printed page across the table. Her sister picked it up first. The words on it were undeniable. Asterisk, last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. Asterisk. Emily lunged to snatch it back, but her father had already taken it, his eyes narrowing in shock. The silence that followed was suffocating, broken only by Emily's shaky breathing. She was trapped. And everyone knew it. Emily's hands shook as she tried to laugh it off, her voice trembling. This is being taken out of context. It's just silly messages, nothing serious. But her sister's expression hardened. Emily, these aren't jokes. This is you sneaking around behind your husband's back. Her father slammed the paper down on the table, his face red with anger. All this time, we thought you were the perfect wife. And this is what you've been doing. Emily's eyes darted desperately around the table, searching for someone, anyone, to defend her. Finally, she turned to me, her voice breaking. Mark, please, you don't understand. I never meant for it to happen this way. I was confused, I raised my hand, silencing her. No, Emily. You weren't confused. You were caught. There's a difference. The room grew heavier with every passing second. Her sister shook her head in disbelief, while her mother covered her mouth, unable to even look at her daughter. For the first time, Emily wasn't the admired center of attention. She was exposed, cornered, and helpless. And I wasn't done yet. Emily's breathing grew shallow, her eyes darting wildly as if she could somehow rewrite reality by sheer will. But then, I leaned back in my chair, my voice calm, almost too calm. You know, I said, it wasn't just the messages that told me the truth. You gave yourself away in other ways. She froze. What do you mean? I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. Like the night you came home pale and panicked. Whispering into your phone, cursing under your breath. You thought I didn't hear you. But I did. Her face went crimson. That was nothing. You're twisting. No, I interrupted sharply. It wasn't nothing. It was the fallout of your own choices. You see, Emily, I paused, letting the silence stretch, your cheating didn't just betray me. It backfired. The table went silent. Her sister frowned. Backfired? What are you talking about? Emily swallowed hard, her lips trembling. She knew exactly what I was hinting at. Her hands tightened around the edge of the table, her whole body rigid. I gave a small, cold smile. Let's just say, when you tried to live two lives, something got stuck. And now, everyone knows why. Her face crumpled. She knew she couldn't explain her frantic phone calls, her sudden panic, or the lies she'd spun. The truth was out, and her humiliation was complete. The weight of my words sank into the room like a stone thrown into still water. Emily's sister leaned forward, her voice sharp. Stuck. Emily, what is he talking about? Emily's lips parted, but no words came out. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she shook her head violently. It's not what you think, it's not. Her father slammed his palm against the table, making the glasses rattle. Then say something. Explain yourself. Because right now, it looks like you've disgraced your marriage and lied to all of us. Emily buried her face in her hands, her carefully painted image collapsing right there at the dinner table. I made a mistake, she whispered, her voice muffled. I thought I could hide it, but it went wrong. Everything went wrong. Her mother's voice trembled. Emily, how could you do this to Mark? To your family? I stayed silent, watching as the very people she had counted on for admiration now turned on her. For years, she had lived for their approval, their praise. And now, in the one moment she needed them most, she had none of it left. She looked up at me then, her eyes red and desperate. Mark, please, don't do this. We can fix it, we can start over. But I only shook my head. No, Emily. You broke this. And you broke it in front of everyone you thought would always defend you. Emily's pleas hung in the air like smoke, desperate but empty. Her sister pushed her chair back from the table, her voice cold. Start over. After lying to all of us? After humiliating your husband in front of the whole family? No, Emily. You've crossed a line. Her father nodded grimly. I raised you to value loyalty, honesty, respect. And what did you do? You spat on all of it. Emily shook her head frantically, tears streaming down her face. Dad, please, don't look at me like that. I wasn't thinking. I was lost. Lost? Her mother cut in sharply. No, you weren't lost. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you thought you could hide it forever. The room fell silent except for Emily's uneven sobs. Her perfect image, the one she had polished for years, was shattered beyond repair. I finally spoke, my tone steady. Emily wanted everyone to admire her, to believe she was the perfect wife. But the truth doesn't stay buried. It has a way of finding its way out, and tonight, it did. Her sister's voice was final. You don't just need forgiveness, Emily. You need to face what you've done. Emily slumped in her chair, trembling, her eyes empty. For the first time, she understood, there was no sympathy left. Her secret wasn't just out. It had destroyed her standing with the very people she thought would always protect her. The silence at the table was suffocating. Emily's shoulders trembled as she stared at the wood grain, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Every mask she had worn for years was gone, ripped away in a single night. I took a deep breath and rose slowly from my chair. Everyone's gaze followed me, waiting for the final verdict. Emily's tear-streaked face lifted toward me, desperate, pleading. Mark, please, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Don't leave me like this. We can fix it. I'll do anything. I shook my head. No, Emily. This marriage was built on trust, and you burned it to the ground. You didn't just cheat on me, you lied to everyone here. You wanted to live a double life, and now both sides have crumbled. Her father's jaw tightened, her mother looked away in shame, and her sister folded her arms, refusing to offer comfort. I leaned closer, my voice low but sharp enough for everyone to hear. You wanted admiration. Instead, you've earned pity. You wanted secrecy. Instead, you've earned exposure. And now, I slipped my wedding ring off and set it on the table, you've lost me. Emily gasped, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away. I turned and walked toward the door, leaving her sobbing in the silence of her family's judgment. For the first time, Emily had no control, no excuses, no safety net. Her betrayal had backfired, completely. The night I walked out of that house was the night everything changed. Emily's sobs echoed behind me, but I didn't turn back. For once, I didn't feel weak or powerless. I felt free. The days that followed were brutal for her. Word spread quickly through her family and friends, there was no way to cover it up, no story she could invent that would erase the proof. The same people who once praised her for having the perfect marriage now avoided her eyes, whispering about her downfall. Meanwhile, I focused on rebuilding my own life. It wasn't easy. The betrayal cut deep, but I poured my energy into myself, into my work, and into reconnecting with the people who truly valued me. Slowly, the pain turned into something else, strength. As for Emily, she tried reaching out a few times, sending long, emotional messages about regret and forgiveness. I never replied. Because deep down, I knew one thing: trust, once shattered, could never be glued back together. Her cheating had backfired in the worst way imaginable. She lost her dignity, her family's respect, and the one person who had stood by her all along. And me? I walked away with the truth. Bruised, yes, but stronger than I had ever been before.